first, I was skeptical, like it seemed like the rest of Steelers Nation. Be it reporters and media in Pittsburgh, be it Steelers fans, or be it the 2 Super Bowl champion quarterbacks from the Pittsburgh Steelers, Terry Bradshaw, who won not 1, not 2, not 3, 4 Super Bowls in the 1970s, leading Pittsburgh to really be the NFL's first modern dynasty in the Super Bowl era. He's like, hey, stick with Justin Fields. And then you have Big Ben Roethlisberger, who's a podcast now, who won 2 Super Bowls with the team. He's like, hey, listen, he's gotten to 4-2. You don't need to go away from the hot hand now. And my mindset was coming into this game is, hey, this is a young quarterback. Let's see what he's got. Let's see if maybe, just maybe, who knows, if he's the long-term future, if we need to draft a quarterback next year. But as Mike Tomlin said after the game, he was asked about, or it was sort of alluded to, hey, you made this call when most people thought maybe this wasn't the greatest of the world. And Mike Tomlin said, and I quote, "That's why I'm highly compensated." Who am I to question? Who am I to question the great Mike Tomlin, who's obviously never had a losing season? And who am I to question? How dare I? Russell Wilson, who looked pretty good last night. Now, it's a bad Jets team. And oh, believe me, and you heard it in the little promo there to start the show, we will get to the New York Jets. Best believe that. But Russell Wilson, how about his stat line last night? 16 of 29, 264 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 turnovers. By the way, 3 touchdowns total on the night. We got 1 on a QB sneak. QBR 0 to 100 of 66. That's pretty good for a guy making his first start in 10 months. And a passer rating of 109. I shouldn't say dare I say, vastly outplaying the quarterback on the other side. And trust me, we will get to him a little bit later. But what I saw from Russell in the Steelers offense is certainly not the mobility that Justin Fields gives you. Arthur Smith's not going to call these design quarterback runs the way he's been calling them for Justin Fields. But what he is calling is deep shots to the man, the myth, the legend himself, George freaking Pickens. Maybe that's what I'll call him moving forward. George freaking Pickens. Okay, who had 5 catches for $111. Had a touchdown and was joggling catches over Jets defenders who's going up over the top. This is a dude. I've said it for years. When this guy has the ball in his hands, oh, he's something special. He's a different monster. Throw that football anywhere in that man's vicinity. He can go get it. He can go up over the top. He can run down a long ball. Now, George Pickens' effort, rightfully so, had been questioned in the last 2 weeks. The tape against Dallas, damning, to say the very least. Not putting the effort into routes the way he should be, not blocking the way he needed to on run plays. Maybe it was Mike Tomlin being Mike Tomlin, be able to get to players in whatever way he has to, because he is a leader of men if there ever was one. And George Pickens was fantastic. Pat Freiermuth got involved last night. He had 2 catches for 51 yards, but was great in the run game. Najee Harris, 21 carries, $102, and the dagger touchdown on the last drive. Pittsburgh's offense was down, or Pittsburgh in general, obviously, down 15-6 toward the end of the first half. They then closed the game on a 31-0 run. 31-0. Again, and I said this on Instagram last night, it's against a bad team, so you have to take that in consideration. The Jets are a bad football team, and I will get to them. But at the same time, you do take into consideration, okay, they've used 2 different quarterbacks in the last 2 weeks, scored 30 twice in both those games, and scoring 30, Steelers fans, are you with me? That's not terribly common in Steeler country over the course of the last 3, 4, 5 years or so. And large part of that has been lackluster to, at some points, bad quarterback play. Russell Wilson was far from bad last night. Now, Russell's obviously going to be the starter moving forward, again, unless he plays poorly, and maybe Tomlin goes back to Justin Fields, which he actually alluded to NBC about potentially doing if Russell's performance isn't up to par. But if the second half is any indication, in the second half, where the Steelers went field goal, touchdown, touchdown, touchdown to close the game, and by the way, that last touchdown came on a drive in which they ran 13 plays, 75 yards, burned 7.5 minutes off the clock to ice the game. So I do not think the Pittsburgh Steelers are in the class. I'll get to Kansas City. I certainly don't think they're in the class of the Chiefs. Not yet. They match up well against the Ravens, but do I think they can go on a long run like the Ravens? Not right now. I do not feel that way. Lamar Jackson is far greater than anybody the Pittsburgh Steelers have right now at the quarterback position, and Derrick Henry's a different monster. Okay, Houston, young, Pittsburgh, the experience, that actually could favor the Pittsburgh Steelers in the long run. But the Buffalo, Josh Allen, the Steelers struggling against Josh Allen in the playoffs last year. To me, those are the three contenders. KC, Baltimore, Buffalo, those are the top three in the AFC. Houston is a potential, I won't say sleeper because I think they're a contender, but in that group as well, potentially. See if they get the ship righted after yesterday. But from what I saw from Pittsburgh, they can enter that discussion. Are you telling me a defense that's got the best defensive player on planet Earth? His name is T.J. Watt. A defense that has as good of a secondary as there is in the National Football League. Be it Minkah Fitzpatrick, the leader of the secondary. Be it Joey Porter Jr., outstanding corner. Be it a guy, Beanie Bishop, have a freaking night, young man. 2 interceptions off of Aaron Rodgers, the first of which was a disastrous throw by Aaron, but still simultaneously a great play by Bishop, able to step in front of the throw, to cover a lot of ground, to make that play and be able to return it and put the Steelers in position to score. But really turn the momentum of that game around. You have a linebacking core that's got young guys like Peyton Wilson. You've got guys like obviously Patrick Queen on the interior of the defensive line. You got Cam Hayward. Nick Herbig's a good third down pass rusher off the bench. You've got a guy in Alex Highsmith who's an elite pass rusher. Steelers have arguably the best defense in football. And if this offense can do anything, what they did last night, running the football and being able to make the defense respect you with the deep ball, the Steelers can be a fringe contender with that coach having his team ready to play every week, with that offensive coordinator, Arthur Smith. I remember there was a lot of, Arthur Smith, is he much better than Matt Canada? And I said back in January or February, whenever he was hired, I think it was January, when Arthur Smith was hired, I said, folks, there's a reason a fourth of the league was going after this guy. Arthur Smith is not a good head coach. He's an elite offensive coordinator. Look what he did with Ryan Tannehill with Tennessee. The Titans reached their highest peaks with Arthur Smith as their offensive coordinator, getting the most out of whatever he had at the quarterback position with Ryan Tannehill. He did that with Justin Fields the first 6 games. Through 1 game, he's done that with Russell Wilson. So I trust offensive play calling. Now, my big concern with this team is the offensive line. I mean, you saw in that first half, the Jets were just constantly getting pressure on Russell Wilson. Still did a better job of kind of mitigating that with the halftime adjustments in the second half. So that's my big concern. I don't like this offensive line at all long-term, in large part due to injuries and lack of continuity. But efficiency, we need Russell to be efficient. He was that last night. We need him. We need him to be able to help the defense respect the deep ball to a guy in George Pickens who, I say it again, is special when you get the football in his hands. Loved what I saw last night. I didn't expect it. I said before the game, again, you saw in the promo, 20-16, Steelers. I thought it was utterly absurd that the Jets were favored in this game on the road. Thought that was insane, out of bounds, and crazy by Vegas. But I thought it'd be low scoring. I didn't know how Russell would do 10 years of not playing in an NFL game. I didn't know how it'd fit. How the Steelers offense had looked in a fantastic performance against the Vegas Raiders the previous Sunday. But in a way, they looked more diverse in terms of what their play calling could do. They could throw it deep. They could throw intermediate routes. They could run the football. Give Russell Wilson time. Pretty darn efficient. Now, do I think this is going to be sustained long term? My answer to that is, it's like the shrug emoji. I don't know. I really don't. Because my mood when Russell Wilson signed in Pittsburgh was, well, at least he's cheap and he's better than Kenny Pickett. I can say that about him. Well, he's far better than Kenny Pickett than anything Kenny Pickett ever did in Pittsburgh. And the Steelers, who, by the way, have a home date, another primetime game, by the way, a week from tonight on Monday Night Football next week against the lowly Daniel Jones-led Giants at home. Pittsburgh should win that game, get to 6-2, go into the bye before they have a big date against the Washington Commanders team that right now is that Jaden Daniels, and all the best, obviously, to him. Hopefully he gets better sooner rather than later. But this is a team in this division, AFC North, where the Browns are a disaster. The Bengals, I still don't trust them long-term defensively, even though Joe Burrow scares the crap out of me, and we know what the Baltimore Ravens are and what they represent. Steelers right now sitting there in the playoffs as the 3 seed right now, tied with Houston to potentially be the 2 seed. I don't know. Fringe contender? Maybe. Thanks so much for watching the show on YouTube, and be sure to go click that big red subscribe button and check out the other clips and full shows from Carving It Up Live, as well as our other incredible content creators here on the Grid Network.